Hey y'all, it's Mariah Kelly with Talk Your Walk. Hey everybody, my name is Mariah Kelly. Welcome back to Talk Your Walk with MK. And today I am going to give you my tips for runway, okay? Everybody's tips are gonna be different. I get it. And nor am I perfect. I'm not even a model who has walked in Milan, Paris, Miami, all the places. But what I can tell you is my walk is my walk. I do it well. And I wanna help you find your walk as well. But there are some tips, the do's, the don'ts, that I think every model should know. And okay, it's subjective, so don't slam me in the messages, okay? It's a little subjective. But from a point of view of a model who has been in the industry for over 15 years, I know that as long as you have a quality walk and you have your walk perfected, then there's nothing that anybody can't tell you. So let's get into it. These are my points coming from the point of view of a 5'10", fairly curvy, mostly legs, short torso, pretty busty woman. I know for a fact that models who are curvy do not walk exactly how models who are more on the petite or thin side. So I'm gonna try to give you the tips that I know that are for everyone. And for us curvy girls, love your assets. Trust that they're gonna take care of you while you're on the runway. That means posture is going to have to be on point. Your hips are going to have to sit and rock a certain way to display confidence and keep you up to speed. But if you want more tips on that, comment, I'll do a whole video on it. So, number one, don't walk to the music. You look like a robot, okay? When you walk to the music, yes, you want to feel that intensity of the music and it's helping drive you, but honestly, you should be in your own lane, to your own beat, and depending on what the designer gave you as a pointer, you should not be worried about the music, and here's why. The music is going to change, I guarantee, from when you practice to the day that you walk on the runway. You're not gonna get the same beat at the same time unless you're working with like type A people. For the most part, it's gonna be fluid and creative, and that beat is gonna change, and you're gonna be like, in the middle of it all, and you're not gonna know what to do. So here's what I suggest. Walk to the beat of your own drum. When you're walking to the beat of your own drum, nothing can stop you. Whether that you have a slow walk and the music is a little bit slower in your heart and in your mind, or whether you have a quick walk and you know that your beat is constantly the same vibe. That's fast to me. I don't know about y'all, but that's fast. So in my mind, I'm gonna tell y'all, don't walk to the beat. It's going to mess you up in some shape or form. Number two, this goes for everybody, okay? Don't touch your hair on the runway. It's too much. Trust me. You are there to be a coat hanger for the designer. And when you start whipping your hair and flipping your hair, chances are the people in the audience are probably gonna get a little follicle or something here and there. And then chances are your images are gonna look a little bit funny with your hand in front of your face or on the side and you're grabbing it too much. Now, like I said in the beginning, this could be a little bit subjective. So if there's a high, intense fashion show and the designer is like, hey, we gotta see you put on to the max, okay? And you have something on your head, then maybe there might be a variance. I wanna show you guys another way to love, which I've walked with a crown. I've walked with a crown before, okay? So I know the temptation of wanting to touch your hair. But in this particular case, you don't wanna mess up what the beautiful hairstylists have done. You don't wanna completely knock whatever is on your head off. There's a certain way that you can acknowledge your head and poses and movements that make you seem regal without completely ruining your hairstyle. Number three, oh my gosh. There are two things you do not go on the runway with. Can anybody guess? Anybody guess? Don't go on the runway with ponytails and gum. Those are my top 2 pet peeves when I see somebody trying to get on the runway with gum. Spit it out. And the ponytails, what are you gonna do with those ponytails? Those are not the accessories for the garment. You are a coat hanger, a regal coat hanger who is delivering this beautiful piece of art, and then you come to the end of the runway looking like the Postal Service, okay? Don't bring gum, don't wear ponytails on your wrist. Even at castings, don't forget, no gum, no ponytails, because it doesn't belong there. Alrighty, so here is my 4th tip to you all. It has to do with I think of it as the ground level base thought when I'm starting to walk on the runway. You should always wear a pair of shoes that you are confident in. Can we get the shoes? Wear shoes that you are confident in and that you know are going to hold you stable on the runway. That may mean you need to add inserts. That may mean you need to spray or hairspray the bottom of your shoes for more grip. That may mean you need to practice with this height, because anything over 3 inches is a little steep, okay? Whether you're going to the club or you're on the runway, 4 inches is a lot. I don't know, that's just me. So with these 3-inch heels that you're probably wearing, you should have enough support to walk and enough support to stop. So I personally like to pull my feet to the back of my shoe and gain my footing before I take off. And the cool thing about that is you know that when you're regaining your footing, you're making way for your toes to not slip over your shoes and for your feet to be all the way in the back of the shoe, knowing that you're going to take off and stop with enough gravity and enough weight and enough tension in your foot. So if you are specifically wanting to start ground level with having a good walk, you should make sure your footing is proper in your shoe as you take your first pose on the runway. Mine looks something like this. I walk up to the stage and I stop and I bend my knee and I scoot my foot back to begin standing up tall and poised. But my feet, they're locked in here. They're locked in here for the return of Jesus. They're not going anywhere until it's time. Okay, so my next point, which is point number 5, is that you don't swing your arms. This is really hard and it takes practice, and I totally get it. But when you swing your arms, or even worse, when you swing one arm, we're watching it. We can't see the garment. We see you hustling and bustling down the runway. So remember to practice with your collarbone out and your shoulders back. Then you should be able to drop the rest of your arms to feel as lightweight and equal as possible. You don't want to be like, this is my walk. That's not how it goes. You want to make sure that your arms are aligned with your shoulders and relaxed at the wrist. Even the elbow should be relaxed. So it's natural for them to move, but it's not so natural for them to just one of them move, or for you to swing them aggressively like you're on a move. Alrighty, number 6 is something that I've seen pretty often. I know that sometimes it depends on the show, but for an athletic, athleisure, sporty show, you're probably gonna be seeing a lot more pants and a lot more jeans. But for every other show, you may see a dress, you may see a skirt, you may see a short dress or skirt. Either way, you wanna be sure that your composition with your legs is appropriate for a low audience or an audience that's sitting with you like kind of immersively. So I've seen a lot of girls who are on the runway and they walk and they're wearing a little short skirt and they do a pants stance. That is your legs are usually spread, shoulder width apart, and your knees are like very relaxed, but you're whipping out one leg and you're whipping out another, and it's a little bit more of a masculine stance. That's not for skirts. That's not even really for dresses. So you should find a composition, kind of how I'm standing today, where your body is showing the garment and slender, and your legs are still together. One foot is behind the other. And in a dress, you are welcome to do the same thing. That might be feet together and your posture's high, or that might be a more relaxed, just lean back stance, but your legs should be together when you're wearing a skirt, okay? Pants stance, don't go with skirts. Number 7, when wearing a dress on stage, probably shouldn't be raising your arms up and exposing places of the garment that they're not really for show. So for instance, if you're wearing a long or short dress, they have placed this garment on your shoulders and along your back to hit and flow a certain way. So when models start doing like flamingos and like aerial looking things, it really jades the way that the garment is supposed to sit and flow. Just be careful to not be so creative and artsy that you lose the true way or composition that the dress is supposed to be showing and worn. And I don't know about you, but when I'm wearing a dress, I don't raise my hands up in the air and be waving around like I just don't care. So just remember that you are like a hanger, a regal hanger, walking and gliding down the runway to show the designer their designs and the audience showing them how to wear that design. Number 8, eye contact. I think eye contact is so important. When somebody looks at you at the bar and they give you direct eye contact, it gives you this feeling of like a soul tie. And that's what your images should look like when you get off of the runway. I mean, as beautiful as a quarter profile or a half side profile may look, nothing kills better than the direct eye contact. So if you're looking at a camera, where do you look? It's so bright, there's so many flashes, everything is happening. You see your cousin and your auntie on the sidelines. It's so hard, but when you're on the runway, your eyes should be peering straight down the circle lens. Sometimes they call it the barrel of the camera. And that is going to allow for you to have a beautiful image and allow for you not to look like you're distracted or things like that. And your images are gonna come back fabulous if you do. Number 9, be on time. Models, a lot of times life catches up with us. We spill our coffee, we catch the train, we forget an item at home, we get it, life happens. But if you can so help it, please be on time for your runway shows. There's so much production and things happening behind the scenes that if you know that you have hair and you have makeup or you have a fitting, it is so important to be on time. It's respectful to the designers, it's respectful to the style team, it's respectful to the entire production, and we want the show to start on time. So if you're early or on time, wait, my orchestra teacher used to say, if you're on time, you're late, and if you're early, you're on time. I still believe it. I still struggle with it. I'm not perfect. But if I can so help it and teach you the lessons that I've learned, you know that your timeline is so important the day of a show. So don't be that model that ruins it and shows up significantly late, okay? My final tip for the runway is to practice. If you're not practicing, you most likely are overly confident, and life has a way of dealing with overly confident people, if you ask me. So with that being said, make sure that you practice at home. Not only are you practicing at home, but you're practicing in the actual shoes you're going to wear or something comparable, that you're practicing to your own beat and your own rhythm, that you're in the garment, if you can practice in the garment before the show, that you give that a try as well, and making sure that you are always ready for whatever life may swing at you. So for me, I practice pretty often because my body changes. My shoes, my faithful shoes die and I have to get new shoes. Or, what this type of fashion show or runway show is asking for is different than the last. Maybe they want me to walk faster. Maybe they want me to, go through this complex type of, flooring. Either way, practice is gonna be the best way for you to ensure an amazing show and perfecting and mastering your runway walk. So with that being said, please let me know if you have any more questions. Those are just 10 tips, just 10 out of probably hundreds and thousands that are out there. But those are my personal must-go-tos when I'm mentoring guys and girls on how to be successful on the runway. And I hope they help you too. So thank you so much for watching. You guys enjoy the rest of your day, and may your runway adventures be fabulous.